Hey, what is going on, guys? Where's Trends here? Let's just start because I got a lot to talk about. So if you're even the smallest BFDI fan, you know that BFDIA 6 released after 10 years. And I'm actually not going to talk about the quality of this episode, but how it affects the timeline. So what we have thought for the past 7 years is this. BFDIA 5 finally ends, and in the next episode, Puffball is eliminated and put in the LOL, as we can see in IDFB. However, this is also when the show was cancelled. BFDIA 6 did canonically happen in universe, but something happened that left the contestants abandoned immediately afterwards. That's what we used to think, but now not only is BFDIA 6 out, but there's plans to continue the series going forward. This completely destroys everything we thought we knew about this season. Our two biggest pieces of evidence right now are IDFB and BFB 29. Looking at BFB 29, there's only one moment in the episode that's actually important to us right now. But it's a big one. When the announcer is doing his exposition dump in the middle of the episode, he says this.
But all good things must come to an end. BFDIA ended production.
The words in this sentence were chosen very carefully by Jack and Jellyfy. And it's clear to me that they've been planning the return of BFDIA since at least BFB 29, but maybe even earlier. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain. BFDIA was never cancelled. It's been retconned at this point. And the term ended production means something very different. Now brace yourselves, because this is when stuff starts getting complicated. Ended production means that the episode was never released, not that the show ended. It's entirely possible that the contestants continued to compete after BFDIA 5. However, after the announcer lost his budget, as said in BFB 29, the show no longer had the money to produce and release the episodes to be viewed. These events have canonically happened, we just haven't seen them. Until now. So technically, BFDIA 6 and any future BFDIA episodes aren't canon. The events that happened in this episode did happen and are completely canon to the series. However, the existence of this episode for us to watch isn't canon, because in universe it was never produced. This is reinforced in IDFB because Pencil says this.
Our diary followers have no idea what's happened to us in the last 3 years. They have no clue who was eliminated in BFDIA 6.
But now that we know that BFDIA was never actually cancelled, and the Fiery Speaker Box continues to stick around even after BFDIA 6, then the season keeps going. Now that the timeline stuff is out of the way, let's kind of analyze how BFDIA 6 affects the real world. Because a lot has to change for this to work. For one, if a contestant gets eliminated, they can't be put in the LOL. Because in IDFB, everyone in BFDIA 6 is free. Speaking of being free, they'll eventually have to find a way to get Bubble back, as she was sent to the LOL in BFDIA 5E, but she's back in IDFB. Also, Rocky has to get his barf back eventually. Great. But the biggest and most disappointing change is that no one can win this season. Or they can't get Dream Island at least. First off, they still don't know where Dream Island is in BFB, so of course they don't know where it is in BFDIA. So in BFDIA 4, there's a challenge to make Dream Island. So is this what they're battling for this season? Does the winner get this? Because we all know for a fact that nobody in this season will actually obtain Dream Island. If they did, don't you think Fiery would have mentioned that in his big speech in BFB 22? Quick side note, Dream Island isn't real. This doesn't relate to the video much, but I don't know when I'll have a chance to bring this up again. But really think about it. We never actually see Dream Island. In BFB 25, you can't even see it past the gates. And from the looks of it, not a single one of the contestants saw Dream Island, even when they were inside of the gates before Leafy bought it. The closest we ever actually get to seeing Dream Island is the announcer playing in a ball pit. We could assume that he's in Dream Island here, but in BFB 29, we see that the announcer's home has a ball pit. So we really never have seen Dream Island whatsoever. But that's just my theory, and I just wanted to get that out just in case it was true. Sorry, back to BFDIA. This is why I think it would have been a better idea to continue IDFB instead of BFDIA. Solely for the fact that continuity-wise, continuing IDFB makes way more sense. And the final thing I want to talk about is how Nickel acts in BFDIA 6. There is absolutely no reason Nickel should have his BFB personality when this is a BFDIA episode. It even contradicts IDFB. I feel like this new wave of BFDIA episodes might kind of ruin the quiet sadness that was IDFB. What I always envisioned was that after BFDIA 6, the fiery speaker box just leaves. No explanation. The contestants are forced to stay in this dystopian abandoned city with a monster that could be around any corner. For years upon years, their friends are trapped in a box with no hope until one day, when Tennis Ball finds the wall teleporter. In such a depressing situation, the wall teleporter is a glimmer of hope. It'll take a while, but eventually everyone can be free. And maybe they can even move back to Goiki. The tale of BFDIA 6 and IDFB is probably my favorite of the entire series. And it's possible that these events could happen later down the road, but it just wouldn't feel the same. There's just something so sad about all the contestants racing to get to Yoel Mountain. And finally when they get there, they're abandoned. And they're left by themselves. And all they can do is wait. I can't believe Rocky died. Let's go!